All right, going to look at LSU quarterback Garrett Nussmeier. Look at 3 keys for success, 3 types of plays, 3 areas that Nuss needs to lean into in order to have success against Clemson this upcoming week. And we're also going to look at Clemson's defense. We're going to look at what Clemson could potentially be doing against Nuss, how to stop Nuss. If we were Clemson's defensive staff, how we'd be game planning against Nuss. Thankfully, we're not, because we would get torched. But before we look at these keys, before we talk about the Clemson defense, let's compare Nuss and Klubnik together. These are 2 of the top quarterbacks in all of college football. So let's go ahead and compare them a little bit, who has the quarterback advantage, and we'll dive into these 3 keys for Garrett Nussmeier. So we have our own QB Spotlight model, our own QB Spotlight rating, and from the rating, Klubnik does rank a bit higher than Nussmeier. Now, the schedule is probably a bit easier than Nuss last year, but he does rank a bit higher. They're very similar as it relates to accuracy and efficiency. They actually rated the exact same. They're both explosive quarterbacks, can push the ball downfield. Klubnik did have a higher completion percentage on balls thrown 20 yards or more downfield. He was actually 44.9% completion percentage, which put him almost 10% above the national average. Nuss was right at average. And we've talked about that in the offseason, seeing Nuss be a bit more accurate, but he takes so many deep shots. He takes more shots than most quarterbacks, that his completion percentage probably isn't going to be nearly as high. The area that Klubnik probably noticeably has a leg up on Nuss is his athleticism. Now, I think Nuss is a good quarterback. We've talked about him being a better athlete than given credit for, but part of Klubnik's game is his ability to run and to escape. And as far as big situations, both these quarterbacks have played in big situations. Both these quarterbacks have had success in big situations. I think Nuss has been a bit more inconsistent at times, while I think he has a higher ceiling in these situations at times. He also had, the A&M snowball effect, the Alabama game, Florida game, that kind of hurt his rating on third down and in the red zone, right? So if we look at the strengths, if we're just comparing who has the overall quarterback advantage, I think both quarterbacks have plenty of experience. Both quarterbacks have played in big games. Both quarterbacks have had ups and downs, and both these quarterbacks are considered 2 of the top quarterbacks in all of college football. So while the rating leans Cade Klubnik, I think it's pretty dead even. I think it's who your cup of tea is. If you think Nuss takes a step forward this year and you think it starts in game 1, you probably take Nuss. If you're a Clemson fan and you are coming off of a great season last year, coming off of Klubnik having a great season last year with him taking a step forward, you're probably taking Cade Klubnik, right? But we're SEC quarterback hub, so we'll lean towards Nuss. Let's go ahead and look at these 3 keys for Nussmeier against this Clemson defense. Key number 1, and this is something that I think he did well at a lot of times last year, and that's his ability to move in the pocket, the ability to keep his eyes downfield. We saw this against Ole Miss. We saw this against Arkansas. We saw this throughout the season of him being able to move in the pocket, not necessarily to run the ball himself, but to move in the pocket and push the ball downfield. That his ability to move in the pocket was really good, especially at certain times in the season last year. I do want to see some more running from him. I don't want it to be the center of his offense or his gameplay, but I think there's some more athletic ability there if they choose to do so. I think that could put another threat on the defense. Maybe this is my personal bias because I wasn't a very good quarterback in college and I had to run. But I would like to see a bit more of Nuss taking some chances running the ball. The deep ball, key number 2, pushing the ball downfield. It's something that he was very good at, something he's willing to do. Now, we're going to talk about Clemson's defense here in a second, how Clemson was probably the best defense in the ACC at limiting these type of plays. But I still think if you can hit on 1 or 2 of these completions, 1 or 2 of these plays, especially early in the game, that can really help open up the offense. And we talked about this before on the channel. Only Jackson Dart had more completions where the ball was thrown 20 yards or more downfield than Garrett Nussmeier last year. He had 31 completions of these type of throws. So I'd like to see, man, if you can get 1 or 2 of these early, I think that can really help open up the offense, put stress on the defense, and the defense is thinking about these deep balls the entire game here. And then the last key, I think Nuss is going to have to make some big throws in big situations. Think the Ole Miss type throws, the South Carolina type throws. Now, hopefully you don't get down 17-0 like you did against South Carolina and have to fight back. But as far as it relates to big throws late in the game, big throws in the fourth quarter, I think Nuss is going to have to make some big throws against Clemson to win the game. And this is if I have one more key, a fourth key, just avoid that snowball effect, right? He hasn't won away since when? I have it somewhere, but he hasn't won on the road. He lost against A&M, lost against Florida on the road. I think it was Arkansas last year, last time Nuss won on the road. So you want to make sure you can not let, if something bad happens in the first quarter, second quarter, don't let that snowball effect happen, be able to fight through that. Nuss has plenty of experience for that, but it's something that is worth noting, especially week one. So if I'm Clemson's defense, if I know this about Nuss, if I know he's going to push the ball downfield, if I know that he can move in the pocket, if I know he's made some big plays, but I also know that at times he's gotten flustered, at times, you've seen the turnovers increase in certain areas of the game. What do you want to do? Well, I think key number one, if you're Clemson's defense, you want to try to fluster Nuss and confuse him from pre-snap to post-snap. Now, Nuss is a smart quarterback. He's seen a ton of different schemes and defenses designs, but it doesn't mean you still don't want to try to confuse him. You want to try to get him in the same mindset he was in against A&M in the third quarter. Now, that you could say that was an anomaly. That was Nuss's worst performance by far, that fourth quarter stretch. But if you're Clemson's defense, you still want to try to get him in that situation, the same kind of mindset against Bama. And how do you do that? Well, Clemson's defense only gave up 213 yards through the air last year, is tied for number 2 in the ACC for lowest amount of yards given up through the air, and they only gave up 6.4 yards per attempt. That was tied for best in the ACC for defense for not giving up big plays through the air here. So I think Clemson's going to try to sit back. They're going to try to get pressure with their 3-4 guys, maybe blitz here and there in unique blitzing situations. But I think they're going to try to sit back and say, hey, and try to make Nuss make a mistake, force Nuss to push the ball downfield even when there's nothing there, right? So that's what I would do if I was Clemson's defense. Again, thank God I am not, but that's how I view and can see Clemson trying to attack Nussmeier. Get some pressure without having to blitz, and don't let him beat you deep. Take the deep ball away from him and try to get him to force the ball downfield here. So LSU fans, I want to hear from you, or Clemson fans, if you're watching this, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you're an LSU fan, what do you want to see from Nuss? What do you think the keys are for success for Garrett Nussmeier? Again, we think it's number one, the ability to move in the pocket. If Clemson does get some pressure on you, can you move in the pocket and push the ball downfield? Can you have 1 to 2 10 to 15 yard runs? Can you keep the defense on their heels? Can you run a bit more if needed? Key number 2, push the ball downfield. Can you have a big completion? Even with Clemson's defense not giving up a bunch of big plays last year, you're LSU. You have freak athletes to throw it to. You have great receivers to throw to. You don't care that they didn't give up a bunch of big plays last year. You're going to be the guy that gets these big plays on them. At least that's your mindset. So if you're Nuss, can you complete one or two of these type of completions or these type of plays early in the game? And then key number 3, making some big throws in some big time situations. I think it's going to come down to Nuss making big plays in the fourth quarter. Like if you're an LSU fan, you don't want to be down 17-0. But if it's 21-21, there's 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter and you're driving, you're going to have to make some big plays to convert on those downs, and then just avoid those snowball effect, avoid those that third quarter against A&M. So LSU fans, I want to hear from you. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think the keys are for Nussmeier? What do you want to see for Nussmeier? If you're a Clemson fan, how are you wanting to stop Nussmeier? Again, we're probably having more SEC fans watch this than Clemson. But anyways, let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If this is your first time tuning in, we're a big SEC quarterback hub. We talk all things SEC quarterbacks, from previews like this to recaps, both from film breakdown recaps after the games this weekend. So if that's your if that's your thing, please consider subscribing to the channel. Watch, like, share. It helps us grow. We'll see you next time. Peace.